My name is Palash Dave. I'm the founder and the director of High Income Property. My business started about 4 years back. Um, I used to be in banking, and a major focus used to be lending. And the one thing I found with clients which I used to work with was they really did not know where to buy the property, what kind of property they would want to buy, and what is the right way of going about building their property portfolio. In my experience, I always found that people will believe anybody if they come about as an expert, and I thought maybe I need to do a lot more learning before I go down that path. I started understanding as an investor myself. I knew a fair bit about investing, and I've been doing that for the last 15 years or so. But as a person who can educate people, I needed to do a lot more learning. So I started working with different people who were experts in property, a lot of reading, a lot of research, which I absolutely love still. And on the back of that, I created this company to help people work out how they can balance the lending part and also how they can balance what is the right area and right kind of property for them to invest in. And I now help people build their property portfolio, a sustainable property portfolio, which is not only going to help them in their right now with their cash flow, but also through to their retirement where they can have a nice, easy retirement life. The biggest differentiator we have is that we have an in-depth knowledge of lending, which we are able to apply for our clients in building their property portfolio. What we find is a lot of clients who have got a fair bit of borrowing capacity, but they use it up for the wrong property, whereas we will help and guide them to make sure they are investing in the right property so they can continue buying more properties. So properties which is going to maintain their serviceability for borrowing purposes, at the same time providing equity in those properties, and that equity combined with the serviceability they have, they're able to purchase more and more properties if that's what their goal is. Because our focus is predominantly and 100% on achieving our clients' financial goals through property investment. So the reason we contacted Growth Hub was there was a time about a year and a half back when our business was going really well, and we were working with a lot of like-minded professionals, especially brokers and lenders and solicitors for that matter, who will send us clients and we would find the right property for them. So in the last 3 or 4 years, we would have helped anywhere from about 100 plus clients. And what was happening is a lot of our properties were either off the plan or under construction or even ready. And the process of helping the client all the way through till the time they get a tenant in the property could stretch around from 12 to 18 months. So we were building up all these clients who we wanted to provide absolutely top-notch level of service, but we didn't have enough people to take care of the back end, right? And that's where we needed help. And the help was provided through the support person we have got now in Growth Hub. How did I find out about Growth Hub? So initially, I'm part of a lot of forums on Facebooks and otherwise, and I connected with Cheryl. And my initial connection with Cheryl was on the basis that I was just looking for staff. I did not even know that they provide virtual assistants. And in my view, I did not want it to go down that path of virtual assistant. I want somebody physically in my office. And she was kind enough to let me know that, she doesn't do that, but she will, direct anybody who's looking for a job to me, if required. And then she also talked to me about a couple of other networking events and things like that. And at that point of time, I thought, if I get somebody, that's good. Otherwise, I'll continue searching. But I think our paths crossed a couple of times, and I joined a networking group where she was part of as well. And I heard a lot of success stories of people who are similar in terms of what I do. They have good businesses, but now because of the growth in their business, they are struggling with keeping up with things. And I heard a lot of good stories about that, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a go because I haven't found an alternative, and I'll give this a go. And that's where I connected Cheryl on the basis of, hey, finding somebody for me on virtual assistant, for a virtual assistant. Yeah. So my opinion about virtual assistants and use of virtual assistant change a lot. Before even meeting Cheryl, I did have one virtual assistant who used to work with me, who's still working with me, and she works only part time. And what I found was that it was more of a process worker person, which is not what I was looking for. So, and that lady who I worked with before I met with Cheryl was, I would give her a task or 10 tasks to do, and she will do those tasks, relatively well. And in my head, it's always been that's probably the way you've got to work. But the stories which I heard, I guess the validations I heard is probably the right word from people that they could rely on that person, not as a person just to do the task, but help you manage things which you can't see and also take steps, be proactive, bring in their insights and their experience to help you grow like you would have anybody who's physically sitting in there, right? So the reliability, the validation that, hey, things can be much better, really helped me make that decision. And obviously, if you look at the costing of it as well, there was not that was the main criteria, but at least at that point of time, it was one of the things I thought, hey, you know what, at least give this a go. If not, it's not going to be a huge cost as such, and we'll go from there. But now, since I've had that solution for me, I can't see going any other way, and I'm hoping to, depend on how things go, we might end up with a few more options through Growth Hub. See, there is a lot of challenge hiring people locally, and I think that's one thing. The whole hurdle or I guess the big mountain of fear of hiring somebody locally was taken away when we started looking at that virtual part, because the people we were getting were already vetted. There was a system of verifying a lot of other things apart from just them being able to do the job. And that sort of helped me a lot as well, because there was always a concern, how will they do the stuff? How will their, internet work? Or how do I make payments to them? Or things like, hey, are they actually going to be doing the work or not? So that whole thing of, the obstacles which were in my head were very smoothly removed away. That, hey, it's as simple as choosing the person. Everything is going to get set up for you. And then you work with the person to make sure they would know a fair few things, but you work with that person to get them adapted to your, process of working. And that's what is probably one of the best things of this whole setup. In terms of the results so far, what I have found is, but it's only been about 3 months or so, what I've found is we, as the sales front of the business, have been able to devote a lot more time in things which are productive and I guess financially benefit for us. And that is only possible because the back end of our business has been taken care by my virtual assistant, Nika, right? And she's able to take care of a lot of things through my emails or my LinkedIn or my social media, responding to things, and it just makes it so much easier, because then I don't have to worry about being that person. I don't have to worry about the fact that, oh, have I responded to those small little tasks and stuff. And obviously I want to present myself as someone who's always getting back to clients on time, and if I'm busy with other clients, I can't do that, but she's able to do that. So the biggest win is allowing me the time to do what I need to do to drive this business forward without having to worry about the back. So the activities which Nika does for me is twofold right now. When we have had a client conversation and the client needs information, or we are going through the process of signing up the client for a property, she's able to communicate and deal with different stakeholders like brokers, accountants, solicitors, and get that information which is required for whichever stakeholder very promptly. So that helps me a lot, because for those things I'll spend 2 hours sometimes, and she's just able to do that very, very well. That part works extremely well for me. Second part, which I think she started doing fairly well, is that I have given her access to my social media. So and I get a lot of leads and connections to that. So she's able to communicate with them, and sometimes I can't remember if I have responded to the client or she has, because it's become so smooth that you think, oh, maybe I did it like 12:30 in the morning, and it wasn't really me, it was her. So, and then we have a chuckle about it. So it's just that we've been able to adapt so well together. That makes things really easy, and I have a lot of level of comfort and trust in that person, where I can share a lot more things without the fear of getting used incorrectly. See, to make any relationship work, you need to put in time and effort. So I would say for the first 6 to 8 weeks, um, without any exaggerations, every day I would be working with her on video on one screen and me on other, and talking through everything which I do, right? And this is like 4 or 5 hours a day. We are just talking through everything, even if we have gone through this once or twice. So I just wanted to make sure I get her embedded so well in my business that she knows how and what I think and how I'm going to respond with things. And we did it for nearly 2 months, and there was a lot of effort required from her end and obviously from my end as well, right? So that really was probably the most important part for me. And I think because obviously her attitude is fantastic, and she was obviously getting checked by her supervisor and stuff like that, and there was monitoring going on. And I don't think that was the reason, but as a person also, she was extremely proactive and wanted to learn, and she was able to pick up all those things that I don't have to now. It's nearly 4 months or something like that. I would sometimes won't talk to her for the entire day, and I know things will still continue to happen. So I guess for me, you have to put in the time and effort if you want them to adapt to your style. You make sure that she's part of our team meetings. We have a weekly team meeting. We put her on the big screen, so all 6, 7 of us sit down and have a chat. There is obviously, I know her personally a little bit more now. She does me as well, and as a group, we all know each other fairly well. And to make her part of the team, even if she's sitting, I don't know, 10,000 kilometers away, it's that importance is just having that communication. Yeah. So I think that's probably the reason it's been working so well for us. I think the reason why Growth Hub stands out for me is two main reasons, and one might be a bit funny, but I will say it. First is that the smoothness of getting things done. Everything happens on timeline. Everything happens very clearly. You know what you're getting into. You know what you're going to get. The support and I guess guidance from people who are the supervisors. I think they call the heroes. And please, I'm very bad with remembering designations, but the heroes who are providing the support to Nika and obviously to me, the communication is very smooth, and there has been no surprises. That's the best part. It is what it is. You get what you get, and obviously you develop and grow that, and that is a big deal, especially when you're going into a big unknown. That's one thing. Second thing, I just find this is a very happy company. Right? All the staff I've interacted with are always happy, chirpy, starting from the top with Cheryl. And you want to be part of that. You want a little bit of that in your, business as well, right? And, we are nice sort of bunch of people who have, fun and jokes and everything like that. So you sort of want to connect with like-minded people. And to me, that's important, because happiness doesn't you can't create it. It has to be there. And combine that with good, efficient business model. I think those are the two main boxes which I take off for Growth Hub as such. So looking forward for the next 12 months, my goal is to make sure I set up my current VA well. I think we still got fair bit of work to do where I can make sure that she's totally independent of me or anybody else to do what she needs to do. I'm trying to scale up my business, which means in the next 6 months, I'm looking at growing a few more team members in sales and the front end. If I do that, then obviously means I'll need a little bit more help in the back end. And that's where I'm looking at now. I'm not thinking about do I need to get somebody physically over here, at least for the back end operational part. But I'm thinking, hey, if I can get somebody who I have already, somebody like her, that would be so good. So I'm in my head, that's how my planning is going for the next 12 months.